Being from Southern California and having all that goes on in San Diego and LA, this one, when I started doing the research, got me super excited. Raleigh isn't just growing, it's being rebuilt. And most people moving here have no idea what's coming. In today's video, we're breaking down the projects reshaping Raleigh and the Triangle from arenas and entertainment districts, which I'm super excited about, the parks, hospitals, and an airport upgrade. My family and I moved here from Southern California about 8 years ago, sight unseen, and we've learned the hard way how to avoid the pitfalls. Do me a favor and hit the subscribe button and stay to the end, because one project that definitely could change where you decide to live. Now in today's video, we're going to detail all of the major upcoming projects that are going to dramatically change Raleigh and the Raleigh region for years to come. And on a personal note, we absolutely love doing these kinds of videos because it's kind of like getting a sneak peek at the future of your hometown. If you're thinking about moving here, or you already live in the Triangle and you're wondering, am I buying in the right area? These projects are a huge part of that answer. And if you want to talk on a one-on-one basis, our number is right here on the screen. Reach out to us day or night. I'd love to give you all the info that you need. There are a lot of places in the United States right now where growth has definitely slowed down or completely stalled. Raleigh isn't one of them. Independent reports keep ranking Raleigh near the top for economic performance and job growth, and when you see what's on the construction map, it definitely makes sense. These projects together are adding billions and billions of dollars of investment, thousands of jobs, and a ton of new housing and lifestyle options, which are awesome. They're going to make this area more livable, more connected, and they're going to keep Raleigh ranked as one of the best cities to live, not just in North Carolina, but in the entire Southeast, and to be honest, the entire country. And as I walk you through each one, I want you to picture two things. First, picture yourself actually living your life with these projects built out. Where would you go on a Friday night? Where would your friends stay? Family? What kind of jobs will be here for you and your kids? And second, picture what happens to the neighborhoods closest to these projects. Because when you put this much money, infrastructure, and entertainment in one spot, it changes everything from commute patterns to home values. Some areas will become more walkable, more desirable, and yes, more expensive, and to be honest, more congested. Others will get quieter as new highways and entertainment pull traffic away. So let's start with the one that's getting all the headlines and the place that I love, Lenovo Center, formerly PNC Arena. If you've ever been to a Carolina Hurricanes game or an NC State men's or women's basketball game, you've probably been inside this building. And on the surface, the arena renovation doesn't sound that exciting. You might picture new seats, fresh paint, maybe a nicer scoreboard, but what's happening here is way bigger than that. Inside the arena, they're basically gutting and upgrading huge portions of the building. There's roughly $1 billion going into this overall transformation, and when you factor in the surrounding development over time, it's incredible. On the interior side, they're adding new premium experiences, and a friend of mine actually runs a big part of Lenovo Center, and he's super excited but a little stressed. He's been going through some of this renovation process, and it's exciting, but again, challenging. They've already started to add things like luxury bunker suites tucked behind the lower bowl, upgraded club areas, new bars where you can watch the game from the rail while you grab a cocktail, and a marketplace style concourse area, and way more food options that are definitely high end. It's all about keeping people in the building longer and also giving them more options to spend time, and of course, I'm sure I will, spend more money beyond just the 3 hours of a game or a concert. And the real magic of all this is happening outside the arena. Right now, if you drive around the Lenovo Center on a non-game day, it's basically a giant sea of asphalt parking lots. It's functional, but it's not exactly inspiring. The plan is to turn about 80 acres around the arena into a full mixed-use district. Think shops, restaurants, apartments, hotels, offices, plazas, and green space. A place that you'd actually want to go even when there's no event happening. We're talking around 200,000 square feet of entertainment and dining space in the early phases, plus a 150-room hotel built right into the complex. Imagine coming in from out of town, checking into your hotel, walking downstairs for dinner, and then strolling over to a game or a nice concert without ever getting into the car. If you've ever sat in traffic trying to escape the arena after a big game like us, you know how big of a difference that can definitely make. They're also also planning a roughly 4,300 seat music venue by 2027 for artists that are too big for a small club but don't quite need a 20,000 seat arena. That's definitely going to plug a hole in our live music scene and bring in a lot more touring acts. On top of that, there's an innovative tailgating area being designed specifically for us Caniacs and hopefully you and NC State fans, with built-in amenities instead of everyone having to fully do it yourself, which isn't always fun. We love our tailgating in North Carolina, and like I said, I hope I get to enjoy one with you in the future. They're gonna make it so you'll see walking streets, parks, plazas, not just a boxy mall. The entire idea is that you can live, work, and play in the district and it still feels walkable and human. The renovation of the arena itself is expected to wrap up toward the back half of this decade. So if you're buying nearby, you're not just buying what's there today, you're buying into where that whole side of Raleigh is going. From a real estate perspective, this is definitely where you want to be thoughtful rather than emotional. For some buyers, living in the middle of the action next to a big arena district sounds like a dream. You love the noise, the energy, and being able to walk to games and concerts. For others, probably a little bit like us, it sounds like a nightmare in terms of traffic and crowds. Our job when we work with our clients that are relocating is to figure out which camp you're in and then help you lean into what's coming. That's why we have multiple strategy Zoom calls a day with multiple clients to listen and kind of get a feel of what you want in your next move. Now let's shift to something a little greener and more yellow with the sunflowers they have there. And let me tell you, it's an insane amount of sunflowers. The transformation of the old Dorothea Dix Hospital campus into Dix Park is amazing. This is Raleigh's version of a Central Park level project, and I don't say that lightly, but it honestly has just started. When it's done, you're looking at roughly 300 acres of parkland right on the edge of downtown, with everything from big meadows and skyline views to playgrounds, gardens, walking paths, and cultural spaces. Part of it are already open and honestly incredible. Gibson Play Plaza, which opened in 2025 and Lorena loves, is an 18+ acre destination playground and gathering space that kind of feels like something you'd find in a much bigger city. Definitely, you need to check it out online. They have giant slides there, water features, skywalks, climbing structures, and art pieces woven into the landscape that Lorena, like I said, loves. We took a few friends and family in the middle of the week and it was packed. It had little kids, teens, parents, grandparents. Everybody was doing something they love, and it's not hard to do. Right next to that is the House of Many Porches Market, which is this really cool food and market concept where you can grab lunch or a snack, sit outside, and watch your kids absolutely soak themselves in the splash zones. It has that vacation day feel without having to drive 2 hours to the beach or the mountains. The crazy thing about this place is the house, of course, is revamped and has actually been around since 1898. Super cool to see. There's also a major ecological and connectivity project underway called the Rocky Branch Restoration. The idea is to restore the creek, add boardwalks and paths, and create new connections through the park and out into surrounding neighborhoods. When it's completed, you'll be able to stitch together a walk or bike ride that takes you from city streets into this huge park and back again without feeling like you're dodging traffic the whole time. Pretty cool. The full build out of Dix Park, of course, take years, but that fact that they are actually doing it, and unlike many things that were coming in California, they are actually being built out. But every phase that opens instantly becomes one of those show your visiting friends this type places, and an awesome place for you to visit if you're thinking about moving to Raleigh. One thing we always remind people when they're looking at homes near a project like Dix Park is that a giant park can cut both ways. On the positive side, you get access to trails, open space, events, and those skyline views that feel like something out of a movie. But on the realistic side, you're going to see more visitors on sunny weekends, more street parking during big events, and of course more interest from developers along the edges over time. So if a home backs directly to Dix Park, you're golden, or it might feel a little too busy for you. That's why actually walking the area and visiting is so important. And like we tell everybody, it's more than just looking at a map and finding a house. The lifestyle's important. Now speaking of quality of life, especially if you have kids or or you might in the future, we have to talk about the brand new North Carolina Children's Hospital campus planned for Apex. This is huge. This is a definite huge deal, not just for healthcare, but for jobs and regional economy, and for our little kiddos. UNC Health and Duke Health are teaming up to build North Carolina's, believe it or not, first standalone children's hospital. It's going to be a 500-bed pediatric facility with its own outpatient center, behavioral health beds, and a research and education campus. It's actually part of a larger mixed-use project in Apex called Viridia, which is insane, and it's planned to include thousands of homes, retail, dining, office, and research space, and even a Wake Tech campus. And we actually have one that they built brand new just down the way in Window. When this whole thing is built out, they're projecting around 8,000 jobs tied to that children's health campus alone. The total investment is estimated, here you see it again, now $2 to $3 billion. So if you're in healthcare, research, education, or you just care about world-class pediatric care close by, this is enormous. For families living in Apex, Holly Springs, Southwest Cary, or even any parts of Raleigh, that hospital becomes your go-to for specialized pediatric care instead of having to drive into different parts of the state. And because it's wrapped inside a much larger mixed-use community, you're also getting new restaurants, shops, trails, and services built right alongside it. It's one of those projects that quietly reshape an entire side of the triangle. Next, let's talk about Fenton and Cary, which we love. If you've watched our channel before, you've probably heard us mention Fenton, but if you haven't experienced it in person, it's already one of the coolest lifestyle centers in the region, and it's still adding new phases. Fenton sits on about 90 plus acres just off I-40 and Cary Town Boulevard, and it's this curated mix of high-end and approachable restaurants, retail, entertainment, office space, and apartments. You will find everything from national focus brands to local chef-driven spots. It already draws people from all of the triangle, not just Cary residents. On any given evening, you might see kids playing in the central green space while parents grab a drink on the patio. You'll see couples on date night heading to dinner, and people walking dogs through the plaza as they window shop. It kind of has that mini city within a city vibe where you can park once and be entertained for hours. This is one of the most amazing times of the year also because there's actually an ice skating rink with hot cocoa, and Fenton honestly looks like a little winter wonderland. We love taking Lorraine and the family there every year just for this. I love Fenton, and it's not just another shopping center. It's one of the anchors for Cary's identity going forward, and it's definitely a must-see. If you're someone who wants walkability and energy but doesn't necessarily want to live in downtown Raleigh, areas around Fenton are going to be really interesting in the coming years. At the same time, we also coach people to be realistic. Living right next to a place like Fenton can be amazing if you love having restaurants and events within a short walk or a drive. But of course, it can also mean more traffic at peak hours, more people parking on nearby streets when you have events, and a slightly busier feel than a traditional, quiet cul-de-sac neighborhood. There's honestly no right or wrong answer. It just comes down to your personality and your lifestyle. That's why we ask a lot of questions about how you spend your evenings and weekends and what your lifestyle is before we start sending you out listings. From there, let's slide up to Midtown Raleigh and talk about the Exchange. If you've driven near North Hills and cut across St. Albans or Wake Forest Road lately, you've probably seen all the cranes and the shiny new towers called 1000 Social. That's actually phase 1 of the Exchange, which is a roughly 40-acre mixed-use development being built out as an extension of Midtown. 1000 Social itself is an office tower on the upper floors, but the ground level is where it comes alive for the public, with places like Optimus Coffee, restaurants like Peregrine, and more concepts rolling in. And then you have right across the way, 2000 Social is planned as a sister tower, and the two buildings will eventually be connected by a sky bridge, which is super cool, giving the whole complex this dramatic skyline look as you drive on past on the Beltline. And beyond Beyond the office space, the Exchange is bringing in hotels, apartments, retail, restaurants, bars, and even a big Lifetime Fitness athletic club that's going to be called Lifetime Living Apartments, built in the same complex, which is super cool. So you could literally live in a building that's connected to a high-end gym, walk down to coffee, work upstairs in your office, and then grab dinner across the plaza at night. Pretty cool. There's also a planned 4-acre park at the heart of the Exchange, which helps it feel less like a concrete canyon and more like a true live, work, play district. For people who love that urban energy, don't want to be in the middle of downtown, Midtown, plus the Exchange is going to be very compelling option. And if you own or you're thinking about owning in the surrounding neighborhoods, this whole district is gonna be a powerful amenity for you. Think of it this way, for years when people said Midtown, they really meant North Hills. As the Exchange fills in, Midtown becomes more of a full district than a single shopping center. You'll have multiple nodes, North Hills, which is already awesome, the Exchange, and all the smaller pockets in between, creating this continuous band of restaurants, offices, apartments, and parks stretching along Wake Forest Road and Six Forks is awesome. And if you're a young professional or an empty nester who just wants to lock and leave, or a remote worker who loves having coffee shops and gyms right outside the door, this part of the town is going to give you a ton of options. Now let's zoom back into downtown Raleigh and talk about the convention center expansion. It's going to bring the new Omni Hotel and the relocation of the Red Hat Amphitheater. This is one of those projects that sounds a little inside baseball until you think what it actually does for tourism, business, travel, and national events. The Raleigh Convention Center is getting a major expansion with hundreds of millions of dollars going into more exhibit space, flexible meeting rooms, and updated facilities. The bigger the convention center gets, the larger the events it can attract, which means more visitors, more restaurants filled with more hotel nights, and more buzz downtown. And to support that, a brand new Omni Hotel is being built right into the complex with around 600 rooms planned. And Brandy and I love the Omni. Check out the one in Asheville. That gives big conventions a true headquarters hotel next door instead of having to scatter attendees all over downtown. Kind of like the JW Marriott if you're in LA, across from the Lakers Crypto Arena. So this is a great idea for Raleigh. And because Omni is a high-end brand, it also raises the bar for what visitors expect from Raleigh as a destination. Finally, we have to talk about the one project that quietly affects almost everyone, even if you never go to a hockey game or a convention, and that's the transformation of RDU International. Because at the end of the day, if you live in the Triangle, RDU is your lifeline to the rest of the world. Right now, RDU is kind of in the middle of a long-term master plan called Vision 2040, and the centerpiece is the replacement of its primary runway. The new runway is being built slightly west of the existing one so that the current runway can stay open during construction. It's being lengthened and modernized to handle larger aircraft, which is what allows airlines to add more, we like them, non-stop and long-haul flights. On top of the runway, they're planning terminal expansions with more gates, updated concourses, and a consolidated rental car and ground transportation center. If you've ever dragged luggage across multiple uncovered lots to get your rental car, you know why that last part matters, and we definitely do. The new setup will bring all of that into a single connected facility, making the whole travel experience way smoother. All this told, you're looking at several $1 billion, again, worth of investment at RDU over the next decade. And while that means construction and some short-term headaches, the payoff is huge. More flight options, less needs to connect through other hubs, and a stronger pool for companies that want easy access to national and international markets. If you travel a lot for work, or you've got families scattered across the country, that growing route map can be the difference between between Raleigh being a bit out of the way and Raleigh being an easy yes. And that in turn affects how attractive this region is for employers, which of course affects the job market, which again affects housing demand. And we're right back to the why these projects matter for you as a buyer or seller. For our relocation clients coming from places like Southern California, New York, New Jersey, Florida, and Texas, this is often a quiet but huge selling point. Being able to hop on a non-stop or one-stop flight back to see family without losing a whole day in airports takes a ton of stress out of the decision to move. And as RDU grows, we expect that list of direct destinations to keep getting better, not worse. So when you step back and you look at the big picture, you have Lenovo Center becoming a full entertainment district, Dix Park turning into a massive urban park, a world-class children's hospital, a mixed-use campus rising in apex, Fenton fueling Cary's growth, the Exchange redefining Midtown, and downtown's convention and amphitheater upgrades, and then RDU's runway and terminal overhaul. And we haven't even talked about the possibility of a soccer and a baseball team that is rumored to come in the years to come. You start to see the pattern. This isn't random growth. This is a region that's intentionally building for the next 20 to 30 years. And that's exactly why my family decided to plant roots here. When we moved here from Southern California 8 years ago, sight unseen, we didn't have a video like this. We didn't know where the growth corridors were, which projects were real versus hype, or how infrastructure was going to keep up. We had to figure it out piece by piece. Now we get to take everything we've learned from living here, raising a family here, and helping hundreds of people relocate here and package it up for you so you can make smarter, calmer, frictionless decisions. So do me a favor again, drop in the comments and tell me which of these projects actually excite you the most and which ones make you go, ooh, pause and think, I need a game plan before I move near that. Your answers help us build the next videos, and honestly, it helps other people just like you who are reading through the comments trying to get their bearings on their next move. And if you're still watching, you probably feel why we get so fired up about these projects. My family and I took the leap of faith 8 years ago, moving from Southern California to Raleigh sight unseen, and we had to figure it all out the hard way. Now we help families do it the smart way. So if you're thinking about buying or selling in the Raleigh area, our information is right here on the screen and in the description box. Also, do yourself a favor and grab one of our free relocation buyer and seller guides and schedule a one-on-one call if you'd like to talk. And make sure to hit the subscribe button so you don't miss all the deep dives we have on coming on specific neighborhoods poised to benefit you the most from these projects. And if you're still in research mode, no pressure. Make sure to look out for our weekly videos and check our sister channel, Life in Raleigh NC, with hundreds of videos from food, entertainment, towns, and everything in between. Thanks for watching, and I'll definitely catch you on the next video.